So hey everyone, my name is Jason Wells. So I am a double bassist with the Des Moines Symphony, and I want to introduce you all to the lovely, talented, and creative Miss Lisa Harrigan.
Oh wow! Thank you for that introduction. We're really excited to share with you all our personal reinterpretations from an album called Live at the Blue Note in Chicago, 1959, featuring a classically trained vocalist, pianist, and teacher named Jeri Southern. So we'll get a little bit further into details about Jeri and her life as we move through the set. But for now, I think all you need to know is that she had humble beginnings in Nebraska, a teeny tiny little town called Royal, Nebraska. I think had like 50 people.
Mm-hmm.
I think her daughter said 50 people and declining was how she described it. But she was discovered by an agent in Chicago, and he kind of picked her up. He offered her $90 a week to play at a club in Chicago.
Big bucks.
And he told her that if she could learn to sing a few songs that he might be able to get her an extra $10 a week. And that was the beginning of her singing career.
All right. So I'll give you the.
Okay. The love averages would seem to suggest that the worst should often precede the best, but that luck knows no reason or rhyme, for this kid suffers every time. Every time my heart begins to dance, I'll always get a little knock. Every time I take a little chance, I pay right through my little nose. And when I fly my kite, you know it catches on a tree. When I toss my anchor out, it pulls me to the sea. And every time I feel a little slow, I'll always get a little shock. Every time I take a little chance, I'll always get a little knock. I'd aim my arrows at the sun, they'd always miss their mark, leaving just a lonely little lady in the dark, dark, dark.
Yeah, it's a little fun little one.
And here's the part where we wish that people were in front of us, so
Right.
there
We'll do it ourselves. Yeah.
there might be some human interaction or something.
Right.
That being said, missing and wanting human interaction, the way that you can kind of supplement that is you can ask us some questions. There's a chat. Feel free to ask us our star sign or music about the question, or questions about the music, rather, anything that you want to know. And we're going to keep moving through our set, but eventually we'll get to your questions if you have any, so don't be shy.
All right. So shall we do Too Marvelous?
Yes. This next song is called Too Marvelous for Words. It's I can't remember the musical that it's from, and I wish that I did so I could tell you to look up this scene on YouTube, because it's just like an old black and white film and there's really nothing too sensational about the song. But something really cool that happens at the very end is the two singers, they're singing it sort of like a duet. And at the very end, they break into a huge dance number where they're dancing on top of a giant typewriter. And if that's not some old classic Hollywood film drama, I don't know what is. We don't have a giant typewriter, but...
Speak for yourself.
We do have this arrangement, so we hope you like it. Okay. Gotta pull back my sleeves for this one. You're just too marvelous. I'll never find the words like glorious and glamorous and that old standby amorous. You're just too wonderful. I'll never find the words that say enough, tell enough. I mean, they just aren't swell enough. You're much too much and just too very, very to ever be in Webster's dictionary. And so I'm borrowing a love song from the birds to tell you that you're marvelous, too marvelous for words. Da 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 You're just too just and much too very, very to ever be in Webster's dictionary. And so I'm borrowing a love song from the birds to tell you that you're marvelous, too marvelous for words. For words. Hey, nice job.
So tell me a little bit about what drew you to Jeri Southern.
What drew me to Jeri Southern? Well, I discovered Jeri Southern when I was kind of fresh out of music school and I had moved to Louisiana and I was studying music. And anytime somebody would introduce me to a new song or recommend a standard that I learn, I had a pretty steady practice of going on YouTube and finding like absolutely as many versions of it as I could. And oftentimes when I was going through and I was doing that practice, I would try to find videos of women. And you'd be surprised how hard that is to do, especially in this tradition and in this era of music. And of course, it's not hard because there weren't women there playing music. Mm-hmm. And it's not hard because there weren't women who were talented and capable and interested in doing that work. But I think there were like a lot of structures and powers at play that like kept women out of those spaces. So for me, my ears just shot up anytime I found like a woman or a non-binary or a gender non-conforming person making this music. Mm-hmm. Especially when it was someone who was really sort of like pushing the boundary of what was normal or what was expected at that time. And that's kind of exactly what she did. She had these phenomenal, unique, interesting piano improvisations. And I think it was her piano playing, the fact that she existed at all, and her beautiful voice. Those things really drew me to her.
Yeah, there's uniqueness to her voice and her style. And, you know, that's one thing with working with you, just being exposed to a lot of artists that I otherwise wouldn't have heard of. Mm. It's been kind of a pleasure.
Likewise.
You know. We want to talk a little bit more after the next song?
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more after, and we can't really play you examples of Jeri's music during our set, but we encourage you to look her up, look up some of her albums, look up some of her live work on YouTube. It's all there for you to find, so we hope that you can kind of get a sense of what we're talking about.
Well, for this next song, I'm going to exit for a moment and have let Lisa have her moment to herself in the piano.
Obligatory moment.
Necessary.
gonna join me now at the piano. I really wish you guys were here. It's not as fun.
It's definitely not as fun. We gotta add the fun ourselves over here.
Which is hard for us to do because we're not very fun
Oh.
people.
Speak for yourself.
I want to say one thing about that song. Someone to Watch Over Me was written by, the lyrics are by Ira Gershwin and the music is by her husband, George Gershwin. And they originally wrote that song for a musical. Most of the songs that we are singing today were either written for a musical or were made famous or like adapted for a musical at some point in history. And that song was initially supposed to be like an up-tempo, zany, zingy, like fun, fast song, and it's more famously known as being a ballad.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I prefer to do it. So that's how we did it. And then I did, okay, and I want to say one thing about this song too, and then I'm gonna, this song on the album that we were inspired by, Jeri Southern live at the Blue Note in Chicago in 1959.
56, is it?
Is it 56? It's 1956, he's right.
Yeah.
She does have one other live album that is in 1959, and it's a really different vibe. But she sang the song a cappella, which is sort of interesting. I have personally, in my time listening to records from that era, I've never really heard somebody do that. And as we went through this album and we chose songs to perform together, I think we were both kind of struck by that element. We're not going to do it a cappella, and we are going to use some chord changes that were composed by and arranged by none other than this gentleman next to me. So we hope you enjoy.
You have the phone?
I think I have one, yeah. I'll scream a little if I do.
Yeah, alright. I peeked in to say goodnight. Then I heard my child in prayer.
Yay. Scarlet ribbons. I don't have any hair, so I don't know what it would be like to put scarlet ribbons in your hair, but it sounds very lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds very beautiful. Okay, shifting.
And that concludes the piano portion of the evening.
Oh. While Jason is getting set up, I'll talk a little bit about this next song. We really did. We sat through and we listened to the whole album together, and we just wanted to pick things that connected to us and that we liked. And I thought this was a really fun song because there are a lot of love songs that are about like feeling crazy or feeling like messed up, and you know, we sang a song about having an infatuation. Well, actually, I was going to give you a spoiler alert to the song that we're singing next, so I'm not going to say that. But this is a really nice song because it is talking about falling in love in a way that just feels simple, feels safe, it feels nice, and that sort of freaking this person out. Which, as I've gotten older in my life, so many more people I know have kind of had that experience where you get to know somebody and you like them and they don't make you feel crazy, and that feels a little weird. So that's what this song is about.
I think it's a good thing.
I think it's a good thing. Yeah. 10/10 would recommend.
Alright, so here's...
Thank you. Roll back my sleeves one more time. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, here we go. This can't beat love because I feel so well. No sobs, no sorrows, no sighs. This can't beat love, I get no dizzy spells. My head is not in the skies. My heart does not stand still, just hear it beat. This is too sweet to beat love. This can't beat love because I feel so well, and still I love to look in your eyes. In your eyes. Oh, this can't beat love because I feel so well. No sobs, no sorrows, no sighs. This can't beat love, I get no dizzy spells. My head is not in the skies. My heart does not stand still, just hear it beat. This is too sweet to beat love. This can't beat love because I feel so well, and still I love to look in your eyes. Your eyes. And this is too sweet to be love. This is too sweet. This is too sweet to be love. Dun, 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 dun,
Love that ending. Yeah.
Should we answer? I think maybe there's questions. Should we answer?
Yeah,
them
so can you see that?
I can't, but
You
I'm
know
gonna.
my glasses
I'm
are.
gonna creep around to the side. Okay. So. Okay, well, we have a very sweet comment from Betty Miller.
Okay.
Who says, it's not necessarily a question, but they said that they just happened upon this and they really like our music.
Oh, thank you.
And
thank you so much.
Thank you for another bright spot while visiting the North Shore.
Well, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, Betty. That's really sweet. Mr. Philip Stevens, who just happens to be my esteemed and beloved brother-in-law, said, how long did it take you both to learn your respective instruments? Also, what else has music taught you other than how to play beautiful music? Philip.
Ooh, good question.
$1 million questions and sweet. Come on. All right,
So,
Jay, let's start with you.
Well, you want to come back in the frame?
Yeah, so how long did it take us both to learn our respective instruments, and what is something that music has taught us that other than how to play beautiful music? What a nice question. Okay.
Well, I would say how long did it take to learn instruments. I was like, I'm still learning.
Still learning, baby. Yeah.
I don't know. I'll let you know when I have learned the instrument. I'm still working on it. But,
yeah.
I mean, to really answer that question, it was a process. I would say, like, where I felt, like, confident and, that I could play in, like, a lot of different ensembles and things like that. Like... Probably until I started playing when I was 10, and it was probably when I was in the middle of high school. So probably like a good 5 or 6 years where I really started to be like, all right, like I could cook a little bit, So
no recipes.
I don't know. What about you? What was your experience?
I'll answer that question in 2 ways, and the first way is that I have had the enormous privilege to have had parents who supported my interest in music. So I've been taking music lessons ever since I was a little kid. And I remember my first performance, which shout out to a Harrigan family memory, where I performed a song from Little Mermaid and I stood concrete still the entire performance. I sang Part of Your World, the one that the mermaid sings. And at the very final word, when I said world, I just raise my hand up like this. And I share that story with you to say that I was extremely nervous when I did that performance. And now I'm a 28-year-old adult and soon to be 29, and I feel just as nervous as I felt that day as a little kid. So that's a really good question. I think there was a period of my life where singing was really natural to me, and it's just something that I enjoyed. And then it was something that I went to school for, and I studied at an academic institutional level. And then it's something that I've had to monetize in my life and make a career out of. So there was a weird period of time where my relationship to my own voice got really confusing. And I think for me right now, I'm kind of coming back to a point in my life where I feel in sync and in tune with my voice. I don't know if that answers the question, but that's my answer.
Well, that's good. It's a good talking point anyways. I could feel similar to that. And leading into the second part of that question about what do we learn other than making beautiful music is patience.
Woo, baby!
Patience.
Yeah.
Music has taught me how to deal with myself. Is the biggest component of music that I think is the deep lesson in there, because there are days where things are going well and she can attest to the cycles where I think I'm the best thing to happen to bass playing ever, and in days where I want to chuck this thing out the window and go get a job and something else. And it just waffles back between those two.
It's pretty consistent.
But it is between the time of trying to learn something new outside of my comfort zone. You always start with that part where it's just that uncomfortable kind of baby steps. Or I just don't know how to do this. I don't know if I'm ever going to figure out how to do this. And in the moment of learning that new thing feels like the greatest joy ever. And then once you learn that, then you're on to the next thing. So then the process starts over again. You start with the next thing down the list that is something that you might be interested in, and you start from that beginning and have to learn your way there. So it's that process of learning, I think, is the biggest part that I take away from music.
Yeah, you can apply that to
anything.
everything in life, not just music. But I think the kind of non-musical thing that I have gained from learning music is, I guess, the ability to move through difficult feelings and kind of the ability to move through like difficult or complicated emotions in your body and make something nice happen out of that, which I think is basically what, in my opinion, that's what singing is. And that's a really important life lesson for me, something that I use every day. And I think those are our questions.
Right.
Yeah.
But speaking of beautiful music, why don't we play the last number that we have here?
Yeah. So one more tune for you guys. It is called "I Get a Kick Out of You." Hope you like it.
Yeah. I think that's it right there.
I think that's it.
All right.
I get no kick from champagne. Mere alcohol wouldn't thrill me at all. So tell me, why should it be true that I get a kick out of you? Some get a kick from cocaine. I am sure that if I took even a sniff, that it would bore me terrifically too. But I get a kick out of you. I get a kick every time I see you standing there before me. I get a kick, though it's plain to see you obviously don't adore me. Some get a kick from a plane, flying so high in the sky with a guy is my idea of nothing to do. But I get a kick out of you. I get a kick out of you. I get a kick.
That's definitely my favorite.
And that's it. That's our set.
That's the set right there.
Look up Jeri Southern's, Jeri Southern, it's not plural. Jeri Southern, I think that somewhere in the Des Moines Facebook they included a link to a podcast. It's a Spinning on Air podcast, and if you go all the way to the end, they included the timestamp on the post.
Mm-hmm.
There's a beautiful, rare recording of her in her home improvising at the piano. And if you're really a music nerd, especially like a classical music nerd, you'll probably be able to hear the influences and some of the pieces that she was studying at the time.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's really incredible improvisation. So I couldn't recommend that anymore.
It's a real treat. Yeah.
You know, so yeah, we both thank you so much for tuning in, and yeah, let's have a wonderful evening outside of that.
It's Saturday, right?
Saturday, yeah.
Have a good Saturday night, you guys.
Thank you so much.
All right. How do we get out of here, though?